Climbing is a demanding sport, yet it is one that offers phenomenal physical and mental rewards. The pleasure of moving over rock, the challenge of the natural environment, and the satisfaction of reaching the top of the climb are as achievable for beginners as they are for the experts. This DVD and accompanying book will help you learn the key skills you need to become adept on the face and climb safely. From basic rope work to advanced grips and holds, you will see professionals demonstrate the techniques and discover how each movement is broken down in graphic detail. Master these skills and you will soon experience the exhilaration and freedom that comes from scaling new heights. Trad, or traditional climbing, is widely considered to be the most ethically pure way to climb, and is the style that many climbers aspire to. In trad climbing, the skills required of the climber go beyond pure ability. All anchor points and running belays are placed by the ascending climber using the natural features that the rock face offers. These items, known as protection, are removed by the second climber as he or she climbs. The climb is ascended in stages, called pitches, right to the top of the crag, from where the climbers will usually descend by a path to the foot of the crag. Sport climbing is a minimalist style of climbing. Climbs are often only a single pitch in length and may finish below the top of the cliff. Protection is fixed permanently in place, in the form of bolts that are drilled and fixed into the rock. The rope is clipped in to provide the protection for the leader. At the top of the climb, the leader will clip the rope through an anchor and lower back to the ground. Bouldering is pure climbing. You will need little equipment save for a pair of rock shoes, a chalk bag and a crash mat. The attractions of bouldering are many, not least that it is sociable and immensely challenging. Because bouldering is done close to the ground, where the risk of injury in the case of fall is lower, boulderers will frequently attempt problems beyond the level of difficulty to which they might otherwise climb. Working out a sequence of moves can become quite frustrating, and many attempts may be made before success is achieved. Bouldering mats are an essential item of equipment, as is a climbing mate to spot you if you fall off. You can use bouldering to learn the basic techniques of moving over rock, to hone advanced techniques such as using small holds, and to develop strength and endurance to help you climb harder. There are many knots that you can learn, but only 3 are essential in the beginning. The principal knot is the re-threaded figure of 8 tie-on knot, linking rope to harness. Tie a figure of 8 in the single rope about 1 meter from the end. Thread the rope through the harness tie-in loops and then take the end and retrace it through the figure of 8. Follow the strands neatly. You are left with a tail of about 20 centimeters. This can be finished with a full hitch or the double stopper knot shown here. Another way to tie the figure of 8 is in a bight of the rope. Create a bight between 1/2 meter and 1.5 meters long and tie the double strands into a figure of 8 form. Make the enclosed loop at the end of the knot large enough to push a couple of fingers through. The tail end of the rope should be finished with a stopper knot for security. The third knot is the clove hitch. This knot is used for attaching to anchor points. Form 2 loops in the rope as shown and push the right-hand loop behind the left. The 2 strands of rope you are left holding are then clipped into the carabiner. Adjust the knot to the required tension by feeding strands through until all the slack is taken up. The first person up the rock face is called the leader. He or she not only has to contend with the problem of solving sequences of moves, but must also arrange protection to prevent a possible fall to the ground. The person who climbs next, the second, holds the rope through a belay device and feeds it out to the leader. The running belays that the leader places are wedged into cracks in the rock, and the rope is then clipped into each one via a quick draw. If the leader falls, he or she should only fall twice the distance from their last piece of protection, because the second locks off the belay device, preventing any rope slippage. This system of security, combined with the way in which climbers anchor themselves to the rock, is collectively known as the safety chain. When the leader reaches the end of the pitch, they secure themselves to the anchor that is created using the gear that they carry. The leader then puts the rope through a belay device similar to the one used by the second. Once secured, the second can begin to climb, removing protection as they ascend. The second arrives on the stance, ties into the anchor, and the whole process is repeated until both climbers reach the top of the climb. So remember, understanding each different type of climbing helps you choose the style that most suits you, and learning how to tie the basic knots and how the safety chain works in principle are the first steps towards climbing with security. In order to climb efficiently, you will need to learn how to balance and move over the rock face. By understanding the best way to hold onto the face and move across it, you will save energy and be more secure, increasing your safety and enabling you to make more difficult moves. Your legs have the strongest muscles in your body, so to climb efficiently, you must use your feet and legs to their maximum potential. Learn to trust your rock shoes to stand on smooth rock or tiny protrusions. Begin with moving around over a slab of fairly smooth rock, using the hands as a tool to maintain balance. Experiment with smearing as much of the sole of your rock shoe as possible over the rock, and press hard to create a friction bond between your foot and the rock. Rarely will you see an efficient climber standing on their toes on ledges. It is simply too tiring to do so with the flexible rock shoes that climbers wear. Use the inside, or in some cases the outside edge of the shoe. The leverage across your foot is considerably less than it is along the length, so this is therefore less tiring. When you need to stand up on a foothold, make sure that you're not too stretched out. Many smaller and shorter steps are often more efficient than a big step up, as this expends less energy than moving a greater distance in a single move. Transfer your weight over to the foot that you want to stand up on and use those powerful thigh muscles to do all the work for you. Good footwork is the key to efficient climbing, but you'll need to use hand holds as well. The best holds to find on a climb are called jugs or buckets. These are big holds that you can curl your hand over, rather like gripping the rungs of a ladder. Next down the scale are in-cut finger holds, where you can curl the middle finger joints over the edge of the hold. Finger holds are the smallest type of hold you'll encounter, and may be so small that you can only grip them with the tips of your fingers. Sideways holds come in similar sizes and are used to maintain balance during a sequence of moves or to pull yourself across the rock face. Undercut holds vary in size too, and these are used to help you gain extra reach or maintain balance. Fortunately, most of the lower grade climbs that you will attempt as a beginner are blessed with fairly large holds. As you move into harder grades, holds generally become smaller and fewer. There may be several combinations of movements possible for any given climb. Much depends on the height of the climber and the strength and confidence of the individual. Tips to note: Try not to overreach for handholds or make too high a step on footholds. Keep your weight centered over the top of your feet when working out handholds. Plan the sequence so that you can use the holds in an efficient way. Don't be afraid to move back down and try again if you find yourself wrong-handed or wrong-footed. So remember, movement over rock is the most pleasurable part of climbing, so mastering the techniques of balance and movement is well worth your while. Learning the basic techniques will enable you to undertake easy climbs with confidence and make all your moves in an efficient and energy-saving style. Once you've got used to moving fluidly over the rock face and identifying and using holds, you are well on your way to becoming a competent climber. However, there will be times when you're faced by obstacles or features that will require more advanced techniques. So let's have a look at some more complex grips and holds. When faced with a crack that appears holdless, the best way to ascend it is by jamming. To do this, you'll need to jam your hands and feet in it to gain upward progress. The most comfortable width of crack is a little fatter than your hand. Put your hand into the crack and then push your thumb into the palm. Then arch your hand to force the fingers onto one side of the crack and the back of your hand onto the other. Keep the skin stretched tight to reduce pain. A fist jam is used in wider cracks. You can simply push your fist into the crack and wedge it tight, or make it wider by pushing your thumb into the palm. Once again, keep the skin stretched tight to reduce pain. This kind of jam can be used with the palm facing upwards or downwards. In narrow cracks, you can use a finger jam. It's helpful to have a restriction in the crack against which you can wedge the lower finger. You may be able to get all 4 fingers in the crack and gain grip by twisting the hand, or you may only be able to get a couple of fingers in. Feet can be jammed in much the same way. Place your foot into the crack and try to twist it in to wedge it tighter. If you can only get part of your body in, it's normally referred to as an off-width crack. Off-width crack climbing is one of the most strenuous and least secure types of climbing. Chimneying techniques are used when the crack is wide enough to get all or part of your body in. Wide chimneys can be climbed using the back and foot method. This technique involves pressing your back against one wall and your feet against the other. Move one foot at a time and make sure you keep pressure on the feet at all times. As you move your feet up, move your back up at the same time by placing your hands on the wall that you're leaning on and nudging up a little at a time. By keeping your feet relatively high, you'll feel secure and well wedged into the chimney. Mantle shelving is a technique used to gain a ledge where there are no positive holds on the surface of or above the ledge for you to grip onto. Reach up for the lip of the ledge and pull yourself up until you can place your hands palm down onto the ledge and transfer your weight onto them. You'll need lots of effort for this maneuver, and a little push from your feet will help you get into position, so look for some footholds before you start. Many climbers resort to the slightly less graceful and efficient technique of leg kicking, followed by a belly roll to get onto such ledges. And most will put their knee on the ledge if they can't get a foot to the same level as their hands. Laybacking is a technique that involves a powerful sequence of moves in which the hands and feet work in opposition to each other. Keep the pressure on your feet and pull hard with your hands so that feet and hands are in opposition to each other, and only move your feet and hands a little at a time. Long laybacking sections of climbing are both committing and tiring, and it is difficult to hang on to a place protection on the lead, so do not underestimate the commitment required. Occasionally, a single layback move might help you to overcome a problematical move on the rock face. Bridging, by contrast, should be much less strenuous. Corners and grooves on the climb are ideal places to bridge. The technique involves positioning your legs as a bridge between two surfaces. Straddle your legs across the corner, using footholds on opposite walls or even just smearing your feet on the rock. Place your hands on opposite sides of the corner, utilising any hand or pressure holds available. So remember, The holds and climber moves shown in this section will add greatly to the armoury of techniques that you'll need to tackle all styles of climbing. Some require more energy, effort and commitment than others, so make sure you get plenty of practice before you need to use them on a long climb. Rope work is an essential part of safe climbing, and it is of paramount importance that both partners understand and know how to operate all the appropriate safety equipment. Belaying is the term used to describe the technique used to hold the rope in order to safeguard your partner on the climb. It is a fundamental part of the safety chain and not something to be casual about. To help hold the rope securely, you should use a belay device. There are many types, but all work on the same principle. Friction is created by running the rope through the device, which is attached to the belay loop of the harness with a screw gate carabiner. To hold the climber in the event of a fall, holding power is created by locking off the controlling or dead rope by pulling it at a sharp angle away from the loading direction. Throughout the belaying process, you must always maintain a firm grip on the dead rope so that at any moment, with or without warning, you can lock off the device and hold a fall. To belay a leader from below, pay out the rope by pulling it through the belay device, making sure that you do not let go of the controlling rope. Always pay close attention to your leader and anticipate when the rope might need to be given out. Belaying a climber from above, or below in bottom roping, is altogether different. The rope needs to be kept tight at all times, and the controlling hand on the dead rope must always maintain its grip. Reach down with the hand holding the live rope and grip it. Pull it up and at the same time use the controlling hand to pull the rope through the belay device. Take the spare hand and grip the dead rope in the locked off position, whilst you take the controlling hand back towards the belay device. Repeat the process. In this way you will always be ready to hold a falling climber. A top tip is to keep the belay device facing the direction the rope is running.